Okay friends, it's officially happening. Welcome to the video. I will be reading November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I'm this far of the way through and I'm finally going to finish my read through and then give a brief summary and share my thoughts on this book. So if you're interested, the story is about Fallon and Ben, and they meet up on happenstance on November 9, and they decide that every November 9 after, for the next 5 years, they're going to have no contact in between them, but they're going to meet up on that November 9. And Ben is writing a book about it, and Fallon is wanting to be like an aspiring actress, but she's recovering from a burn scar that left her sort of having like lots of scars on her face and her body. And so it's about her regaining her confidence and being able to do that, and then Ben writing his book. Just so you know, I will be having spoilers for this book, and when I do, I'll have like a little picture of something I'll put up when I'm talking about spoilers, but for the most part, this is going to be spoiler free. Hi, this is Anna editing here to let you know that that was a complete lie. This review is completely full of spoilers for November 9, and I don't put up any cards because the entire video is spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, then maybe this isn't the video for you. So far in the story, from where I've gotten to now, Ben and Fallon have met up 3 times, and this is their 4th time meeting up. So I'm about to read the 4th November 9. So I've already read numbers 1, 2, and 3. Number 1 and 2 were fairly similar. Number 3 really stood out to me as different. It was a turning point in the novel, so I'm curious to see where it's taken now. I can read the back of the book for you. Fallon meets Ben, an aspiring novelist, the day of her scheduled cross-country move. Their untimely attraction leads them to spend Fallon's last day in LA together, and her eventful life becomes the creative inspiration Ben has always sought for his novel. Over time, and amidst the various relationships and tribulations of their own separate lives, they continue to meet on the same day every year, until one day Fallon becomes unsure if Ben has been telling her the truth or fabricating a perfect reality for the sake of the ultimate plot twist. Can Ben's relationship with Fallon, and simultaneously his novel, be considered a love story if it ends in heartbreak? So we're going to see where the book takes me from here, but now I think we're going to go into a montage of me reading, and I'll check in once I find I finished to the next part. Bye. I just finished the 4th November 9. It was literally this short, and now we're at number 5, and things have hit the fan. So essentially last year, just as a quick recap, last year Fallon finds out that Ben's brother Kyle has died. Ben's brother Kyle was married to a girl named Jordan, and Jordan is pregnant with their baby. So Kyle dies in a car crash, and Fallon ends up going to LA to be with Ben and his family during that time on that November 9. And where do I even start? So essentially at the end, Ben is asking Fallon to stay, and Fallon is saying, yes, I would love to stay, but I can't make that decision. Like, this is not what's best for Jordan. This isn't what's best for the baby. Like, they need you to be with them during this time, and I can't complicate things. And then the whole entire year, Ben is heartbroken. Ben actually ends up with Jordan, with his sister-in-law, after she has the child. So then for the 4th November 9, they show up, and he's got this little baby. He's got his nephew with him, and it's revealed that him and Jordan are now together. And so they have this whole, Fallon has this whole emotional breakdown because she's moved back to LA to pursue teaching acting. This is her new passion, but she's moved back to LA because Ben lives there, and so does her mom, and she is betting on Ben, and Ben is like, wait a minute, if you're in love with me, you gotta tell me. And she's like, no, I cannot make this decision. I am not going to split up you and Jordan. This is it. This is over. We're done with. And So now we're going to pick up with the 5th November 9. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm deeply curious. I am really curious to see where it goes from here. If they end up together, I don't know. If the book gets completed, I don't know. What Jordan thinks about this, I don't know. So I'm gonna keep reading and we'll see what happens after my next update. Okay, we need to have words. We need to have words. I think that maybe I just finished it because the next section is November 9 by Benton James Kessler. Okay, I've sat here with my mouth agape for too long. So, where do I even start? It's November 9. Fallon is not meeting up with Ben. Fallon is moping in her apartment. Fallon's friend Amber convinces her to go out to the club with them. Fallon is currently seeing this guy named Theodore. He's kind of not that great of guy. He wears pastel pants and talks about Nantucket. You know the type. They're out on this like date thing, and then Ben comes up and is sort of asking like fake interview questions and talking to them, not really letting on that he knows Fallon. And then we sort of find out that Ben did show up on their date. He was there for 4 hours. He was like searching around for them. He went to her old apartment and asked around for her, figured out where she was going to be that night, came to the club, found her. And then this big fight breaks out because he's sort of like, listen, Theodore, who's the guy in the pastel pants. He's like, listen, Theodore, I'm really sorry, but I'm in love with this girl that you're on a date with. So like, that's the situation. And then they get into this huge fight, and Theodore calls Fallon like ugly. And then everyone is beating up Theodore for her. And then she ends up going back with Ben, and he sort of explains himself. He explains that he went back with Jordan that night after they met up last year, and they had this really good conversation. They basically figured out that neither of them were in their relationship for the right reasons, and now they're still super happy and they get along great, and they still have, both of them have a great relationship with the son, with Oliver, and things are good. So like, I'm reading this and I'm like, things are good, but I still have so much of the book left. So I'm curious to see what November 9 by Benton James Kessler is about, because I've read What November 9 by Colleen Hoover is. So we're gonna read that and then I'll be back to you. Interesting. Okay, so the plot twist that we've just figured out after Fallon reads the manuscript of Ben's book, I should have known this wasn't the ending. I should have known it wasn't going to end good. But after Fallon reads the manuscript, she basically finds out that Ben was the one who started the fire that nearly killed her. And we don't really understand the context of it yet, but that's all. And I don't know what to do with this information. I'm a little bit taken aback. So, yeah. Okay. So Ben dropped off the manuscript at Fallon's house on the next November 9. I think this is the 6th one, I'm pretty sure. Actually, let me check. Yep, this is the 6th one. So on the 6th November 9, Ben has dropped off the box at Fallon's house with the manuscript and has told her to read the letter and to read the manuscript for her, not for him. Fallon went to sleep. Fallon's mom ends up coming around, reading the manuscript, crying, and then telling Fallon to read it. So now I think we finally get to read the manuscript. Okay, we're gonna record now because I think I might be getting to the part that makes me cry. No. No! I just found out that he cheated with Kyle's girlfriend. Oh, never mind. This is a lot. I need to read the end of this book. I only have a couple pages left, but I have a meeting to go to, so we'll be back. Okay guys, it's many hours later, but I'm finally getting a chance to read the last 3 pages of this book. Okay. No way! The tattoo. Wow. Alright, let's read the acknowledgements. Okay. Let's do thoughts. Okay, I've officially finished this book. I was pleasantly surprised, and let's talk a little bit about the summary of what happens in the end. So at the end of the book, Fallon reads through the manuscript and finds out that Ben found his mother, who had killed herself, in the bathroom, and then this was on November 9, and he basically spirals into having a pretty bad life afterwards, and he ties this to Fallon because he finds some notes and letters of his mom talking to Fallon's dad. And he ends up driving to her house, and after he sees the dad sort of kicking at a gas can, messing with his car, he ends up lighting the car on fire, drives away, and then finds out later that the fire spread, caught onto the house, and ended up seriously injuring Fallon. And so he figures out this happens. He talks to Kyle, and Kyle tells him basically, talk to nobody about this, forget that this ever happened, erase all trace of this event in your head. So he does. Then the next year he goes to visit his mother's grave, and he sees the dad there again. So this time he drives after him and follows him to where he's going, which is to meet up with Fallon at the restaurant that the beginning of the book picks up at. So the beginning of the book is Fallon and her dad sitting at the restaurant, and Ben is sitting in the next booth over, eavesdropping, and then he pretends to be Fallon's boyfriend, slides into the booth, and basically diffuses the situation. And we find out that basically we find out through reading the manuscript the actual story of what happened, and it's just sort of like a weird web and connection of events that ended up turning into this story. And at the end of the book, Fallon forgives Ben, and basically they live happily ever after. And yeah, I really like this book. I liked it more than I expected. There were definitely aspects of it that I didn't like. I think that some parts of it were cheesy. Some of the romance I found sort of cringy. There's definitely a lot of smutty scenes, and that's not my thing, and so I wasn't super into that. But the rest of the book, the plot, the characters, and everything else, I found interesting, and I found it to be good. And If anything, this book was definitely entertaining. I was going through this book so fast whenever I read it. Whenever I sat down to read it, I always felt accomplished afterwards because I had read so many pages. It was really page turning. It was captivating for me. I found it to be entertaining and enjoyable. And now I want to sort of have a conversation about romance novels in general, because I think that me as a person, was a little bit snobbish about romance novels and thought that they were sort of like a lesser form of media. And this has really changed my mind. Like, I can see why people like these things. I can see why, because they're entertaining, and I found myself to be entertained through reading it. It wasn't like this was lesser quality writing or a lesser quality story. And so if you've never read a romance novel before, or if you had this sort of viewpoint that I had before reading this book, I would really recommend that you pick one up and give it a try, because I think that you might be pleasantly surprised and that you might be having some preconceived notions about what a romance novel is without ever having read one, like I had. I had those preconceived notions and I had never actually tried. This book came as a high recommendation from my friend Gracie. And Gracie reads like pretty much exclusively romance novels, and like, I don't judge her for that or anything, but after reading this book, I think I have a lot more respect for people like her who read solely romance novels, because I understand it now. And so yeah, I would highly recommend that you can either pick up this book or pick up another book by this author. This is the first book I've read by this author. I will be reading books from this author in the future. And yeah, I just really do think that us, just as a society, probably have a lot of prejudice against romance novels, and I think that it's time to pick one up and give it a try, because you might be pleasantly surprised. So that's pretty much all I have to say for this book. I don't give star ratings, but I would recommend it to other people. I would read other books by this author. I wouldn't say that I would never reread this book again. I probably would reread this book again throughout my lifetime if I wanted to. I'll be keeping my copy. So that's some information for you to know, like how much I like the book and everything like that. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Yeah, I guess I'll see you later next time I have another book to read, and we'll talk then. But bye.